Hello, good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Joy News Briefing on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Nia Krofi Smartabe. Coming up in this bulletin, police in the Ashanti region say they've arrested 3 more suspects in connection with a murder at the Ashford Hotel in Kumasi. We'll be getting an update from that on that particular development from our Ashanti regional correspondent. And also coming up, experts who investigated last year's crash of Nigerian cargo aircraft, Allied Air, are expected to present their report to the Minister for Transport this afternoon. We'll be speaking with a report on that beat for an update on that. And also the Interministerial Task Force set up to pursue violators of Ghana's mining laws have arrested 1,568 foreigners so far. We'll be telling you more about these, plus sports, showbiz and international news coming up. First up, the Interministerial Task Force set up to pursue violators of Ghana's mining laws have so far arrested 1,568 foreigners and 51 Ghanaians. Additionally, 3,877 foreigners, including those who voluntarily submitted themselves for repatriation, have been deported. This is according to Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Alhaji Inusa Fuseni. He was speaking to journalists in Accra.
Reports released by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources indicate that since 1991, the mining sector has been the single largest contributor to total merchandise exports, with gold accounting for 95% of the mineral portfolio. In 2012 alone, Ghana produced 4,313,190 ounces of gold, the highest in the history of the country, which resulted in export revenues of over $5.6 billion US. Despite this feat, illegal small-scale mining, or galamsey, remains a challenge negatively affecting the environment, water bodies, agriculture, food and security. In a quest to curb this menace, an interministerial task force was set up on 15th May 2013 to enforce its mandate by bringing sanity into small-scale mining. According to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Alhaji Inusa Fuseni, the task force, which began operations on 1st June 2013 in southern Ghana, has completed its first phase.
So far, it has arrested 1,568 foreigners and 51 Ghanaians. 40 vehicles, 85 F-moving equipment, and 49 weapons have been seized. A total of 3,877 foreigners, including those who voluntarily submitted themselves for repatriation, have been deported. The seized equipment are currently at holding centers under the care of the regional security councils.
He debunked alleged brutalities against Chinese nationals with video evidences, which according to him was just a frame-up.
I was confronted with 3 images of Chinese nationals who had been shot, who had died, and many other gruesome pictures of Chinese to justify brutalities committed by my task force. Unfortunately, I was able to retrieve the medical reports of all these Chinese nationals, and I tell you, one of them was as far back as 2010. One died through a motor traffic accident unrelated to small-scale mining. One died out of gunshot wounds engaged in with a colleague, but these were used, and they were all on the internet, used to justify brutalities committed by my task force.
He added the government of Ghana is not responsible for alleviating the poverty of foreigners.
The government of Ghana has no responsibility whatsoever to provide employment for foreigners. Neither do we think that we have responsibility to alleviate the poverty of foreigners. Our responsibility to provide employment and alleviate poverty and catalyze mining use mining as a catalyst for the development of rural communities in small-scale mining is limited to Ghanaians.
The second phase of the work of the Interministerial Task Force is reclamation of affected sites which have become dangerous to society and unsightly. About 20 operators are yet to be recruited to assist in reclaiming the lands.
Now, Finance Minister Seth Terkper has been reacting to the NPP's press conference on the state of Ghana's economy. Speaking to Joy FM's Bernard Nasara Saibu on the Super Morning Show, the Finance Minister said plans were far advanced to streamline the economy, but the NPP MP for Old Tafo, Dr. Kotosei, disagreed. Meanwhile, on the AM show here on Joy News on Multi TV, the NDC Member of Parliament for Qatar, Richard Kwashiga, said the government is not denying that the country is currently facing some economic challenges. He said what the government is doing is trying to find solutions to these challenges. Richard Kwashiga was speaking on Joy News's morning show, the AM show.
We have challenges as a nation. Our economy is going through some difficult times. Government is, looking out for the most effective ways, to deal with the challenges. Revenues that ought to be collected that are not being collected are being mopped up currently because of the effective mechanisms that have been put in place by government to collect those resources that are due government. Now we are talking about the need, as it were, to raise taxes in certain areas, as it were, to deal with the urgent issues. Our friends on the other side think that we must not collect taxes.
What about the community service?
Of course, yeah, we all were not very comfortable with that aspect of it, and the reason for which, when it came to the floor, it did not find the support that it deserved. If we in the NDC, who are a majority in Parliament, thought that should go, we could have used our numbers to push it. But because we also thought that there was need, as it were, for some rehashing of that tax, the reason for which it was stepped aside, brought back in a more refined way.
Meanwhile, the NPP MP for Kwadaso, Dr. Owusu Akoto, speaking on the same show, reiterated the minority's stance that the government has failed Ghanaians.
When this government took over in 2009, we had a debt of just about 9 billion. Now our debt have just ballooned to nearly 40 billion, to 38.7 billion. Then this is at a time commodity prices are their historical high. Gold prices, we've never seen it hit $1,600 per metric ton.
It's not true. You made the price
1,600 and it went to 1,700. It touched 1,700.
Well, it's been dropping. It didn't work.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is no. It's just now dropping to 1,200 and something. But what I'm saying is that gold prices were at their there's never happened in the history of humankind where gold prices on the international market hit $1,600 per ounce. It's never happened, and you can quote me. It's a fact. Okay? Cocoa prices went up to $2,500, $2,600. It went as far as even touched nearly $3,000 per metric ton. And in these 4 years, we've had all these benefits. And what have we done with it? We've borrowed extensively. We are almost now back into a HIPIC situation because the interest rates that are being paid by this government for both external and domestic debts are so huge, and they are rising because the government is still borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. So it's a very worrying situation that we find ourselves in.
Now, speakers at a public forum on free speech organized by the Center for Democratic Development have raised critical issues over the courts, free speech and judicial accountability. Law lecturer at the University of Ghana, Kissie Jabeng, who spoke at the forum, said contempt of court should not be given an interpretation that will negatively affect the right to free speech.
The forum, organized by CDD, the Media Foundation for West Africa, in collaboration with the National Media Commission, was at the instance of public debate following the imprisonment of Ken Kranche and Stephen Atubiga for contempt. Kissie Jabeng raised concerns over the need to ensure that the definition of contempt does not inhibit free speech.
We should not interpret this whole concept or apply this whole concept of contempt in such a way as to whittle away the right to free speech itself, or to do it in a way that will impair fundamental human dignity.
Kisia Jabin also made mention of the fear of abuse of the arbitrary power of judges in terms of what remarks, actions or comments it may deem as contemptuous.
Maybe the Supreme Court we have now did very well in restraining itself a little bit, 3 days, 10 days. But if we are to leave it in the hands of men and women, one day we may not have 3 days and 10 days. That is the danger. And that is what I fear.
Tony Forson, the public relations officer of the Ghana Bar Association, also spoke about the position of the bar.
Now, the Ghana Bar Association's position on this matter is that the status quo be maintained for now, as there will be the need to educate the media and the general polity on what the principles underlying free speech, responsibility, the work of the courts, and the generality of the citizens' rights. Now, any keen watcher of the courts will realize that the constitutional power to punish for contempt found in the entrenched provision of Article 1262 of the 1992 Constitution so far has been sparingly used. So far, it cannot be said that the power has been abused by the judiciary.
Professor Audrey Gajekwo, head of the School of Communication Studies, University of Ghana, suggested that a complaint settlement procedure should be put in place to check irresponsible comments from the media and not have the court descend directly on media personnel who make such comments.
I take the view, as others have, that there should have been some complaint settlement process to address the issue first. And if that fails to address the problem, then other mechanisms are there. After all, we have the National Media Commission to settle complaints. And maybe we need to explore that, even if we haven't in the past, because we're learning and we are looking at ways around it.
Now, in spite of the challenges with the implementation of the National Health Insurance Scheme, the NHIA says it is working towards universal health coverage for Ghanaians. Its chief executive, however, says universal coverage will only be possible with support from stakeholders in the health sector. He made the comment when a team of students from Netherlands paid a call on him.
Some 22 students studying the universal health coverage from the Royal Institute of the Netherlands called on officials of the National Health Insurance Authority to understudy Ghana's National Health Insurance Scheme. In spite of the challenges facing the scheme, they believe the scheme, which has been operational for about 10 years, has great prospects as compared to other countries.
If you look at experiences elsewhere, it is easy to have people contribute who have a formal job. But people who have a formal job, they often have higher incomes. And even if they would not have insurance, they might be better able to pay for themselves for the services. I think what is courageous in the case of Ghana is that they have decided for universal health coverage in the sense that also the informal sector is included. And by the way, Ghana has organized a system that most of the income from the National Health Insurance Funds comes actually from value-added tax, the VAT tax of a dedicated 2.5%, and that is paying also. So this tax is also paying for the poor people in Ghana. And although there are difficulties, I think many other countries, they started with the formal sector and with the people who are better positioned in society, and that is promising.
Unfortunately, health insurance is but one single component within the basket of activities, policies, and interventions towards the achievement of universal health coverage. Unfortunately for us in Ghana, every problem you see, you experience, you encounter within the health system is associated with health insurance, and it is like, oh, health insurance. But of course, you cannot look at the health system in compartments. It is a system, and all must flow into, or they must flow into one another or each other as the case may be.
chief executive of the NHIA told the visiting delegation his outfit is striving to attain universal health coverage, but was quick to add that they require support to make it possible.
Now let's head to the Ashanti region, where the Regional Police Command says it has arrested 3 more suspects in connection with the murder of a security guard at the Ashford Hotel in Kumasi. The 35-year-old security guard was gunned down by suspected robbers whilst on duty. The police made an arrest shortly after the murder, but today they told journalists in Kumasi that 3 more suspects have been arrested. Well, let's get onto the phone lines now and speak to our Ashanti regional correspondent, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin, for an update on this particular story. Good afternoon to you, Nuruddin, and thanks for joining us here on Joy News.
Good afternoon, Smart.
Okay, so tell us, when exactly did the police make the arrest, and is it 2 or 3?
They have arrested 2 of them, in addition to the one who was arrested last 2 weeks.
So which brings it to a total of 3?
Yeah, there were 3 people who shot the man.
Okay.
The 2 others have been identified as Prince George Anaba, 21 years, alias Balak, Alex Ofosu, 19 years, alias D Crime. He is a SHS graduate. He graduated this year. And the other one who was arrested last 2 weeks, Prince Adu Jemfi, 21, alias Owireku. And according to the police, these suspected criminals have committed a series of crimes in the metropolis, and the Ashford Hotel. According to the police, Prince Edu Jemfi has been identified as the one who shot the man, though there were 3, but he was identified as the one who shot the security man. So they are all in the police custody, and we were told that one of them, Alex Ofosu, who was arrested at Kasua, according to the police, the relatives were putting things together to send him out of the country. So, fortunately, the police find his...
Okay, so when exactly did they make the this new arrest of the 2 suspects?
They arrested them on this month, July 8th of this month.
Okay.
Yeah, they arrested them.
All right. And are there any indications from the police as to when they will prepare them to be arraigned before court?
Yeah, the police said they will be arraigned before court anytime soon. The criminals, the suspected criminals have also confessed the series of crimes that they have committed in Bantima, suburb of Kumasi. And, when the incident occurred at Ashford Hotel, there was this missing laptop, and the police were able to retrieve the laptop from them. And the man who also bought the laptop is from Obuasi. He's a miner at Obuasi, and he bought the laptop, Michael Desa, 26, bought the laptop for 350 Ghana cedis. So he paid 300 Ghana to the suspected criminal. So he was also arrested, and he is also in police custody. Some other items too were retrieved from them. The HP laptop, the one I just talked about, and 2 locally made pistols, and 11 live cartridges, 1 iPad, and a mobile phone were all retrieved from the criminals.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Franz, Smart, if you remember the issue of the stabbing of one guy at this in Kwadasu factory main, I spoke with the Central District Police Commander. He told me that the suspected killer has been sent to court. He has been sent to court today, and if he is found guilty, the law will take its course.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin, our correspondent in the Ashanti region, for that update. But away from that, government has expressed satisfaction at the response of deputy ministers who went through a 3-day orientation meant to better place them in the running of affairs of the country. Deputy Information Minister Felix Kwachiofusu, who was part of the orientation, told the Presidential Press Corps at today's media briefing the deputy ministers have gained deeper insight into the requirements of their office. He said at the orientation, which ended last night, participants pledged their full support to the various ministers to help them deliver on the vision of the Mahama-led administration.
Seasoned resource persons took deputy ministers through various sessions, all aimed at enhancing their performance. His Excellency the President has said that it will not be business as usual and that things are going to be done in a manner that speeds up the progress that this nation has made over the years. And so this orientation session was aimed at equipping deputy ministers with the wherewithal to ensure that they perform at optimal level. It is anticipated that following from the orientation seminar, deputy ministers would be in a position to offer the sort of support that His Excellency envisages will be required to move his agenda forward. And government is encouraged by the response and the outputs of deputy ministers at the orientation seminar. And it is anticipated that this would reflect in the sort of performance that they put up. This forms part of a series of measures that His Excellency has instituted to ensure that the highest standards of performance are exacted from all government appointees.
Now, experts who investigated last year's crash of a Nigerian cargo aircraft, Allied Air in Accra, are expected to present a report on their findings to government today. The aircraft overshot the runway at the Kotoka International Airport on landing, destroying the instrument landing system localizer bus, and broke through the airport perimeter wall, killing 9 persons in a bus and 1 on a motorbike. A preliminary report presented by the committee last year indicated an unstable approach leading to the runway excursion. However, the black box of the plane was recovered and flown to the United States to obtain data that would assist in the determination of the probable cause or causes of the crash. We'll try and see if we can reach our correspondent. Okay, Eric Curtis Howard, my colleague, is at the Transport Ministry. I understand he's already joined us on the line. Good afternoon to you, Curtis.
Good afternoon, right? Smart, sorry.
Okay, so tell us, has the report been presented yet, and what does it say?
Okay, yes, the report has been presented to the Minister of Transport, that's Jifat Tivo. But the content of the report has not been disclosed to the media. The chairman of the committee that sat and that did the investigation, and Captain Alex Grant-Sam, what he said was that what he told the media, he just gave a summary of what happened. He said that what happened on the Allied air cargo track was as a result of human error. He said the pilot was supposed to fly at a certain meter, but because of it rained that particular day, so because of the pilot was floating 6,000 feet above the air, and so because of that, he seemed to have lost his kind of bearing, so it affected the whole landing process. He couldn't give much detail about what was really contained in the report. Other than all that he said was that there was a need for the Ghana Airport Company to also come out with a structure to barricade the portion that the runway ends, so that such incidents could not. It wouldn't help make planes sort of overshoot their runway and come onto the road. So he just, they're trying to manage the information. But what he gathered was that between now and tomorrow or by the end of the week, the report will be put on the internet for the media to really study it. But for now, they couldn't really give us actual information as to what was contained in the report.
Okay, so it means then we'll have to wait for about a week thereabout before we can get full disclosure of what the report actually says.
Yes, the transport minister said she was also going to study the report with the team, and she will also come out with her findings. And also, the officials from the airport company said, so far as they are concerned, they have not received the report yet. They don't know what caused the plane crash. So they also say they are going to study the report, and after that, they all come and give their recommendation as to what to be done and what next to be done. So that's the situation on the ground now.
Okay, thank you very much. Eric Curtis Howard is my colleague at the Transport Ministry, where the report on the Allied Air crash has been presented. But like he said, details have not been disclosed to the media. We're told we have to wait for about a week thereabout, because the Transport Minister herself is now going to study the report. Up next, we have sports.
It doesn't take much to make something big happen. With Tigo Free Bundle, you get triple or double bonus whenever you top up.
MK, some party tonight. Bring your big screen.
You can make calls and text all networks, browse and make international calls, all with your bonus. Use your credit how you want, when you want, no restriction. Wait there, Free Bundle. Dial star 555 star 1 hash or text Tigo to 5551 to activate.
Smile. You've got Tigo.
Hi, my name is Clarence Kwesi Apia in sports this afternoon. After meeting in the group of death curtain raiser at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup Turkey 2013, France and Ghana will renew their rivalry in the semi-finals. Having come off worse in that initial fixture, the Satellites' pursuit of revenge will be a compelling subplot to the encounter as they look to lift the title for a second time. However, the possibility of reaching a first final at this level will be the motivation France need.
Well, I keep on saying that this is not a situation where a platform for me to tell you how I have to play, because I have to be cautious trying to bring out my plans and programs. So please, but better still, you see, one thing I love is to play a very beautiful football, entertain people, entertain the fans, let people enjoy the game, and whatever comes out of it, we take it. But better still, my plans and programs that I have for the game is on my chest, and until we reach the fields, you will all see it on the field. Thank you. In Rwanda, we played against Cameroon opening game. We drew. And the final game we played with them, we scored them 2-0. So it's balanced. You know, it covers all platforms. What I'm saying is tomorrow will be a different ball game. Yes, records are there to give it a references. But better still, tomorrow those records and references will not matter. It's going to be a different game. It will be a different mentality. It will be a different determined game, and it will be a different ball game throughout. So, just let's relax with your statistics and records, and we go into the game tomorrow. And we are saying that we are refusing to accept defeat tomorrow, and that is what we are going in for.
No. Well, before we take leave of you, just a quick information that's just come in. It's on the Consumer Price Index for June 2013, which has been released, and it's actually based on the rebased formula. The June 2013 year-on-year inflation rate for the new series, as measured by the CPI, stood at 11.4%, up from the 11.1% recorded in June 2013. The monthly change rate for June 2013 was 2.6%, and the monthly rate recorded in May 2013 was 2.8%. Meanwhile, housing, water, electricity, gas, and other utilities recorded inflation of 17.4%. Clothing and footwear also recorded inflation of 17.0%, whilst the communications subgroup had the lowest inflation rate of 0.9%. And that's about the latest on the CPI for June 2013. But that's how we wrap up the Joy News briefing here on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Nia Krofi Smatabi. We'll join the Supreme Court shortly.